Welcome to the Church in the Wild podcast. You'll be hearing the words from worship from Sunday, October 12th, 2025, where we continue our witchcraft series with a conversation on Reiki. You can find out more about Church in the Wild and all of our upcoming events and programs at churchinthewild.org. Thanks for listening.
Each week, the colors and textures of our altar change to match the changing seasons. We give thanks for each gift, each person, and the Great Spirit for all that is. Love our fall altars, so rich with color. Now it's time for the nature connection. Are you ready for that, Hannah? Hannah's bringing it today. Barb, our retired biology teacher, is away, but Hannah has been a great sub, so thanks for filling in.
Just want to make sure I didn't accidentally turn that off when I was clipping it to myself.
I don't think so. Yep, it's on.
Okay, cool. All right, so as many of you know, I am not a retired science teacher, and but I think it's interesting how we use the word energy both to describe that like spiritual connection that we have with each other and with nature, and then there's also energy like how plants get like energy from the sun to like do the photosynthesis thing, and that's why they're green. Well, they're green because they have chlorophyll, but that's part of photosynthesis, so that's why they're green. And like, you know, when we're running around or we're moving, like, you know, in like I think it's in physics, that's called energy. In like chemistry, have all the atoms have positive and negative charges and energy and all that. And anyway, I just was like in my head today, like listing in my head like all of these, because I was like trying to figure out like what to do for nature connection. And then I'm like, wait, I could just list a bunch of random science facts that I remember from school about energy, because like, you know, electricity is energy. So like it, because like basically, I was like, how do you connect Reiki, which is like, you know, about like spiritual energy, with like science thingies. And it's funny because like even if the science thingies and the spiritual thingies aren't like the exact same thingy, there's like still like overlap and like similarities, you know what I mean? Because like there's energy is energy, whether it's spiritual or scientific energy. It's still a thing that moves around, that makes things do other things. So that's how I would describe that. Anybody else have any thoughts? I always think it's more fun to open it up to other people because, you know. Yeah, so we got the science energy and the spiritual energy, and probably at some point they run into each other. But, yeah.
Thanks, Hannah.
You're welcome.
All right, and we've got our poem. Kind of a poem. Are you ready? Okay, thank you.
Hi, I'm Siobhan. Our poem today is the 5 Reiki Principles from Mikao Usui. Just for today, I will not anger. I will not worry. I will be grateful. I will work with diligence. I will be kind to myself and all beings.
Comes from the Christian scriptures, Gospel of Luke, chapter 4, verse 40. When the sun was setting, everyone brought to Jesus relatives and acquaintances with all kinds of diseases. Placing his hands on each of them, he healed them.
Thank you. So, a little word of introduction as we continue our fun month that we're calling witchcraft, W-H-I-C-H, because I realized we had some experts in our midst on these different modalities or traditions or spiritual tools that all have at one time or another been labeled witchcraft. Although all of them can be found in the Hebrew and Christian scriptures, or an earlier version maybe of all of them. And they are all just tools to use in your own faith. They are not in themselves belief systems. So last week we talked about tarot and how that can be used by anybody. And actually the first person who introduced it was a priest. So there's long history tying tarot to Christianity. And this week we're talking Reiki. And next week, Hannah's going to talk to us about astrology. And the last week of October, Caden's going to talk to us about crystallology and crystals. So again, all of these are interesting, long-standing, historical, spiritual tools that we can use no matter what faith tradition we are claiming or practicing. Or if we aren't claiming or practicing anything, we can still use these tools to help us connect with that energy that Hannah already named for us. So we've got Reiki Master Liz Pfister of River Maven, which is right in Windsor, here to tell us more about Reiki. And I gotta say, last Sunday I went to a retreat at another camp, and they had Reiki as part of that retreat, and the director said, "Oh, I almost called you this week, Corey, because I got a call from somebody who asked if we were summoning demons with Reiki." And I was like, oh, I hope you were able to speak some truth to them. And she said, yeah, I explained it, but there's a lot of misnomers, so I'm glad we have an expert here to share.
It's the first I've heard of summoning demons with Reiki. Right. So, I'm like, I've heard that with tarot, I would understand, but I'm like, the Reiki is new. So, so hello everyone, I'm Liz Pfister. As Corey said, she didn't introduce me as the town clerk this week, which was, but I'm here to talk about Reiki. And Reiki is, not that I assimilate myself with Jesus, but I always think of it as similar to the practice that Jesus practiced of the laying on of hands that, so many talked about in his early missions when he was out speaking to the masses. So Reiki is actually a Japanese technique for stress reduction and relaxation that promotes healing within the body. And the word Reiki is made up of two words. The first one, Rei, which is the spiritual wisdom. And this is where creativity, genius, miraculous experiences, spiritual healing originate from, is in that spiritual wisdom that we all have. And then the second part is the Ki, which is actually Chi, which a lot of us know if you've taken Tai Chi or any of the Eastern modalities, is life force energy, right? And life force energy runs through everything on the planet, anything that is alive or being in existence, right? There's energy that runs through it in some way. It's a non-physical energy, right? So if your energy is low or it's blocked in any way, the flow of your energy is blocked in any way, it makes us more susceptible to illness and not feeling well. And then when our energy is high and it's flowing freely, we are less susceptible to illness and feeling unwell. So that's what Reiki tries to promote. And you can become a Reiki practitioner through a process called an attunement, which is where a Reiki master sits with you and kind of opens you up to be able to channel this energy. And I shouldn't even say channel because it's not necessarily channeling. We all have this energy within us already. Each person does. But when you're attuned, you're opened up to be able to facilitate the movement of that energy. That's, I guess, how I want to say it. And but I feel like we all have this innate ability to heal whatever we focus on, right? Where attention goes, our energy flows, right? So if we feel like we're unwell, if we start sending positive thoughts, positive affirmations, however you want to do it, positive prayers to that area where we feel unwell, we will eventually feel well, right? We will be sending energy there to move and facilitate any stagnation or stuckness that we might have, to heal ourselves and to heal other people, right? That's essentially, when we look at the planet wide, right, we get to places where we have disagreement and such, that it's because energy has stopped flowing, right? A lot of times when two different sides oppose each other, we are so stuck in our thoughts and our mind process that we don't allow our energy to come together and talk to each other, right? We stop and we kind of butt heads. So part of being a Reiki practitioner is also to send healing out into the world, not just to other people individually or to yourself. So Reiki is an intelligent energy. It goes where it is needed. You can say, oh, my foot hurts and I want you to do Reiki on my foot. But if the cause of your foot pain is really in your gut, it's going to actually send that energy to your gut because it knows that you need it there. And your foot will eventually feel better as part of that. And it's spiritually guided. It's not anything that we, and I'm sure that you've experienced this where people have touched you and you can feel energy transfer, right? Like I assume that we've all sensed that in some way. Sometimes it's not always positive. Sometimes people don't even have to touch you. You can be near people that you're like, okay, I didn't like that. But Reiki will go where it's needed. It senses where it's needed and flows there. So just a little bit of background on it. It was discovered in Japan in 1922 by Mikao Usui, who practiced a lot of the documentation on his practice and education is lost because of World War II, but they know that it's there. They've actually recently uncovered some actual documents to solidify all of this. But how it was brought to the West is one of his students, Mrs. Takada, she became a student of Reiki while she was visiting Japan to see her parents, and she actually lived in Hawaii. She came back to Hawaii in 1937 and started to teach Reiki, and did so until she passed away in 1980. So part of being attuned to Reiki is you get your lineage of who attuned the people ahead of you, and I'm a Dr. Mrs. Takada descendant in my lineage. But it has become a fast-moving modality, I would say, in the last 10 years or so in the Western world, because more people are turning to, I think, holistic modalities for healing. I think we want to step away from that medication and that, here's a pill to cover up what's going on and get you through to the next thing. We all want to get to the root of our problem, the root of our issue, and do permanent healing. So it's become more widely used. A lot of nurses in hospitals and especially in hospice programs become Reiki attuned. It's very, very, because it's not just a physical healing, it's a spiritual healing, right? It's your spiritual energy, your physical energy, your emotional energy, all of that comes into play when you're doing Reiki. And so a lot of nurses are using it. It's especially used, in hospice at the end of life. It makes it easier for people to transition when someone is, holding them up and sending them that energy that they need to get over that hump. And I'll share a short story that my former neighbor, and I didn't get to witness this, but I heard this very beautiful story. I remember him and his wife living in town and being, pillars of the community all my childhood. His wife had died before we moved into our home, but he was still there. In his 90s, World War II veteran, and when he became ill, he was at home on hospice. And one of his daughters is a pastor at a church in West Virginia and is also a Reiki practitioner. And she came up to be with him towards the end. And a friend that was a hospice nurse was there with them, and she was giving him Reiki at the end of life as he transitioned over. And they said they had never witnessed anything more beautiful in their, nursing career than seeing this, loving exchange and helping, like almost walking them down the path home. So it's you get to experience a lot of things that you may not have necessarily thought that you would experience doing this. But they are all beautiful. And the 5 precepts that Siobhan shared earlier, are things that when I'm having a hard day, I try to go back to, because you can bring Reiki into anything, right? I can send it to my talk today. I can send it to my dinner that I'm making this evening, right? Reiki can be, and when you're in good practice, you send Reiki to your day each day and all those things. But just to remember not to anger when you start to get upset, right? Not to worry when you start to go down that path of worry. There's things that I start to remind myself when I find myself falling into those traps. And I'll say, just for today, I will not anger, right? Just for today, I will not worry. And just remind yourself, even to say them each morning when you get up is powerful practice and keeps the energy moving in a positive way. So that's what I've got about Reiki. And I know Corey wants to, we're not moving.
And we're going to get a chance to
Yeah. We're going to do, yeah. Because I think all of you can tap into the energy as well as me send it out to you. But for our meditation. So sit up, make sure you have a straight spine wherever you're sitting. Stomp your feet on the ground to get you grounded. And close your eyes and start to take in some nice, long, deep breaths in through your nose. And let them out through your mouth. Start to let yourself unwind. With each breath, you can let go of tension you're holding on to in your body. Exhale out thoughts that are spiraling around in your brain. And get as clear as you can, connecting with the sounds around us, the sounds of the leaves blowing in the wind, the sounds of kids playing and having fun. There's life force energy we all wish we had. And begin to feel your feet connected with the earth. Feel roots going down into the soil. And feel that energy of the earth start to come up through those roots into your body. As you inhale, you can allow it to come up further into your being, filling you up. Because the same life force energy that runs through the earth and the trees runs through us. Runs through the ants and the birds. And as you feel that energy fill your body, begin to rub your hands together. You feel that energy start to stir. And ask the Creator to help you to open up and move energy to places that it needs to go, where it needs to flow, or it may be stuck. And as you're rubbing your hands together, slowly start to pull them away and feel this ball of energy between your hands. You can kind of play with it. You can expand it and contract it. You can feel it getting bigger or smaller. And this energy is life force energy that we have available to us at any time, all the time. And as we send it to all of those that we held in our prayers, all those situations that we held in our thoughts, let's also send it out to anywhere on the planet that needs healing, that needs a movement of stagnated energy. Anywhere that things may be stuck and not flowing. Let us do our part to help move energy, to keep it flowing, to keep us and our planet healthy, those on our planet healthy. Feel the breeze moving that life force energy out into the world for us. And as we start to bring our ball of energy back in towards each other, bring our hands back close together, I want you to also bring that energy into your heart, into your being, and let it flow back through you, back down into the earth. And remember that you always have this accessible to you at any time, in any place. Because energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It can only be changed from one form to another. When you're ready, you can start to bring yourself back by taking some deep breaths in. You may open your eyes whenever you're ready. You're welcome.
Have a moment if anyone wanted to share about that experience at all. I felt things in my body, and that's something I love about Reiki is that you can feel it. You don't have to see it to believe it. You can feel it to believe that, yes, something is happening. And as soon as you told us to bring that energy back to us, I put my hands over my heart and I felt the rush go through me that we had been sharing with the world. So thank you for that. And if anyone else wanted to name something, I think it just is cool to share. Yeah.
I did it and I was like, ooh, I'm like, you can.
That's a thing. Yeah. Yeah. They do that in Tai Chi too. They have you practice that feeling. And so it's not just Reiki, right? And acupuncture is basically Reiki. And more they're finding scientific proof that acupuncture really helps. Like, my insurance covers acupuncture because it's a thing. We all have energy running through us all the time. That's just fact. Yeah. Avatar. Yes.
Well, then I'm thinking thinking as I'm doing this meditation, I'm thinking, here's Ben and this physicist there. I'm like,
Chemist.
chemist, huh? Well,
Still.
Still
Yeah.
knows about energy.
Yeah. on molecular level, right?
But it's all the same.
Yeah.
Energy is energy. Hey, Ben, did you like my...
Thanks for listening. If you want to support Church in the Wild and the work we do striving for environmental and social justice, you can head on over to our website, churchinthewild.org/support, or you can click on the donation page link. There you can make a donation, set yourself up to be a recurring supporter, or you can buy something from our Redbubble shop. We're so glad you're with us on this journey, following the Spirit through creation, adventure, and restoration. Until next time.